So for this one, I wanted to go off the pattern a little bit because that's just what I will do. And I'm going to use this waffle type of fabric, essentially. And I'm going to make it so that it's basically double-sided. So how these are printed is there's a print on the one side and then there's the unprinted side on the back. And that's why you're doing the rolled hem, is just to encapsulate those frayed edges and make it look more finished. Another fun way you can do that is going to be adding in like a backing and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do with this. And I went through to see what I had on hand in my little stash of fabric. And I found this little waffle type. It's not really stretchy. It does have a little stretch one way, but we're going to make that the long ways. So I'm just going to lay this out so I can cut it. And not doing any measurement either with this, and I'm just going to lay it on it and cut it out. This is the raw edge, so I'm going to, or the factory edge basically, so not just a raw edge, but like where they weave it so that it doesn't fray. So I'm going to move it up just a little bit and cut that off, but using this as kind of the straight guide. Make sure my fabric is straight. Mostly lining it up to this raw edge here in my straight. Okay, and the rest can kind of go along with it. So looks like we're pretty good. And a little off on that edge, flat, and now we can cut. Now we can use, I'll pull off this here. And these little edges, along with like these little edges and stuff, I will save these. Like these are your waste product, but I use small scraps like these as like a stuffing base, and then sometimes you get lucky and you need like a small piece of fabric, but it's so small, like why would you typically hold on to it? So I have these like salvage edges. Otherwise they go into like a stuffing material. Alright, so push that off to the side, and like this is going to make a great like practice stitch on the thicker fabrics. I can do decorative stitches or whatever. Yeah, or it can even be like a backing for something that's not going to be seen. So again, this is also not going to go to waste. Alright, so now we have both of these. And this is the wrong side of the fabric. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to basically put right side to right side. And just like you would stitch a pillow, you would stitch around this like as if you were making a pillow. So what I mean by that is you're going to be stitching it, leaving one end open a little bit enough so that you can pull out the corners. So basically you'll go around, you already know your seam allowance here is going to be 1/2 inch. It's pretty clearly marked. You can make those smaller if you want, especially since this is going off in pattern. but I'm going to leave it at a half inch. Just going to run a stitch along here. If you have a serger, go ahead and serge these together, which I think is what I will end up doing because it gives you more of a finished edging, and again preventing it from fraying because this thick material could fray easily. So with this little thin material. So yeah, just run a half inch along all of this. If you do not have a serger, you can do the DIY version, and if you have a zigzag, do a zigzag and then do a straight stitch. So straight stitch on the closer towards the finished inside piece, and then the zigzag on the edge, just to keep your frayed edges encapsulated. So I'm going to do that. And then I have gone ahead and straight stitched this and this together, the waffle weave and one of the houseplant patterns, and I have serged the edges, so I'm just going to trim these up real quick and then turn it inside out. As you can see, I left one of the ends open right here, so I can just flip it out, inside out, right side out actually. I'm going to take my scissors because these corners are going to make a rounded edge, so you can keep it if you really want, like a rounded edge and something, some kind of a thick bulk. I do not, so I'm just going to come in and clip these to help the fabric turn. So now you go from having no flexibility in that corner to having some flexibility in it going around. So I'm going to do this on all four corners. You can see I did like a quick straight stitch and then I serged, so you didn't necessarily need to do a straight stitch and serge, but because I was working with two very different textured fabrics, I thought it would be smarter. That way, if anything happened, you know, I could just undo the straight stitch and readjust it if it came undone or if it shifted. Again, I just stitched them so that there was the half-inch seam allowance, and my serger cuts off the excess. So now we're going to go ahead and turn this right side out. Pillow. See, now you can get a nice sharp point, and there's not all this excess bulk. So you get that point in your corner by trimming. And if there was too much bulk, then you can also just cut off some of the extra fabric. Kind of what you did with that 1/4 inch cut for the edges. So I didn't do that with these, but for the fold over edges, you can do that. So if it was too bulky, you didn't like it. This one, I might have to go back in there, cut off some. You can also take the back of the pencil, help push it through, giving it a nice sharp point. So I'm going to find a pencil and do that. Okay. So there we have that. Looks just like a pillow. I guess you could actually make a pillow out of this. That would also work really well. Just be cute little throw pillows. Or even bed-sized pillows. Sleeping pillows. So, you can leave it at this. You would just want to close this up. I am probably going to do a top stitch here. Kind of pressing these ends, and then I'm going to run a top stitch just to give it more finished edging. I might even do it like a decorative stitch too, because I really like the way those are coming out. Straight stitch may not just not cut it for me with this design. So there we have it. Yeah, I'll probably just prep this out and do a stay stitch someday. Make sure when you are closing this edge, make sure you're encapsulating all your rough edges and keeping it nice and even. So next would be ironing this and then doing a salvage stitch on the outside. And I think I can show you the back of that. Looks like a pillow. Alright, I'm going to show you this beautiful decorative stitch that really blends in. Also is complementing the pretty leaf pattern here. You see it. It's so pretty. And the setup is it's not one that can fit here. So I have it connected to my surgery. And I'm just rolling it this way. And then this one is the going off the directions, not following directions essentially, doing my own thing. Just another spin on different ways that you can be creative with these towels. This one is the waffle weave on the back, and then it has this on the front, and it has this really beautiful yellowish matching, it's like a yellow cream match to the fabric, and it is stitched in like a binding leaf pattern, which was absolutely perfect with this print. So again, this one, you can fold it, you'll have this beautiful hanging, and this way as well. It looks like almost ivy leaves falling down, and then you have your more absorbent side. Well, I don't know if it's more absorbent, but more scrubbable south side. Because this linen fabric is pretty absorbent, which is why I selected it. Yeah, I think that was really pretty. I actually really like the back being the soft gray blue. I think it was beautiful. So, to sum it all up, we have that one, this one, and this one. These are available in a DIY, make your own hand towel, tea towel, kitchen towel, bathroom towel, decorative towel, table towel, placemat. It's a little extra large for placemat. Whatever you prefer. These are available on my website and on spoonflower.com under JessDesigned. These were all hand drawn by me, and I put them together into a layout, a template, to make it easy to follow directions and do it, but also with a creative spin. So again, these are all available in a DIY kit, so you can make them your own. So we have lovely directions here to make your own tea towel. And these, by the way, will measure 16 by 24 inches, about that size. So that's about a good standard tea towel, kitchen towel, hand towel type of size. And they are made from this beautiful linen and stuff, and eco-friendly printing. Again, available on my website and at spoonflower.com as a DIY make it yourself kit. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you enjoy, and definitely do check these out because these are super cool. So thank you for watching. Bye.